Okay, basic controls of the bid well. Very simple. Setup stuff when you're pouring. 1, 2, 3, 4. These are the legs. This one is the leg over there, leg back here, leg over there. Okay, simple. It's the corner of the machine. To run the legs up and down, you have to have this switch on. That's accessory. Okay, basically it's a 3-stage valve. Up, down. Each leg is separate. Okay, each turn of the leg, they are marked on the top. One full turn is a 1/4 inch. It's a 4-turn leg. Okay, screw. So up, up, down, each leg separate. Pretty simple. You don't get much simpler. When you get them all set to grade, flip this off so somebody doesn't come and bump it and all of a sudden you're not on grade. Okay, that saves you a hassle of having an accident basically. Okay, carriage fogger. Tank will be full of water. You're going to run it. Push pull valve. Okay, you're going to push and pull to get it on and off. Pull is on, off. It's pretty simple. Once it's on, this is your how much water is flowing. This is your pump. Okay. Oh no, that's not it. I'm in the wrong spot here. Where the heck am I? This is it. Sorry, that's the carriage speed control. Other side, it says right here, fogger control, how much water is coming out. It's right here. I grabbed the wrong one. All right, pretty simple. That's something you just try if you want more water. Obviously open, less water is less. Off. Okay, the actual driving of the machine and paving. We're gonna start with this knob right here. This is the direction of the carriage. If I push this, it's going to go that way. If I pull it, the carriage is going to come across this way. Okay? If I want to just move the carriage, you have to have this in pave. Okay? If I have it in stop, not going to work, nothing. If I want to just drive down the pipe without moving the carriage, I go to travel. When I want to travel, I have this first in travel. Second, I turn this to somewhere in the middle. It's mattering how fast you want to go. All the oil comes through the carriage speed control. I'm driving like it's a gas pedal with this, and this is variable speed. And if I want to stop, I shut it off, it stops. If I want to go faster, I turn it up. If you want to go really fast, you can turn that up, turn that down, okay? That's how you travel. That is also how you're going to pave. If I'm going to pave, I have this set somewhere in the middle, and we're going to figure out where we like it by trial and error. We're going to turn this carriage speed. That's going to start the travel of the carriage, however fast we want, somewhere in the middle maybe. Okay? As that comes and shifts, hits the controller, we're going to advance. How you adjust how far you advance is this. Leave that up. You want to go less, you go down. You go more, you go up. If you wanted to speed the carriage up, you're not going fast enough. If you speed this up, you're also going to advance further. So you might want to turn that back down if you're happy with advance. There is no magic number here. It all is relative to what you like. You'll figure that's just for your memory, okay, both of these. So if I turn this up, likely you'll go down with this one. If I go down with this one, but you want to advance more, you just go up with that one. It's more of a travel distance than speed. The speed is when you travel. When you're just traveling, not paving. The distance is when you're paving, okay? If you have an emergency, shut that off, the machine's gonna stop. The carriage will keep going, okay? Will not keep going, but will keep turning the augers and that, so you need to shut that off down there. So if we're back to neutral on everything, how do we figure out the direction we're going are these two levers. This one is the idler end, which is the far. This one is the side we're on with the power unit. If we're traveling, that's the direction. That's how we figured out yesterday on the bogies where the hoses had to be. If we want to, there's middle, that's neutral, that's going backwards. Okay? So, if I'm going to pave, I'm going to go pave. I'm going to go forward, say. I'm going to start with this. This is how far you're going to travel. And then I'm going to run it with my gas pedal, called the carriage control speed. I'm going to start it. We're going to start going back and forth, and as it advances, we're going to see how happy we are with it. 6 to 8 inches in an advance mount. That's a good number, okay? We're going to turn this off. It matters. You can set all this stuff. Most of the leg stuff will be done before you start paving. That will probably, this will be partly already on or off, whatever you're doing. This is the fogger. But this stuff you can control. So if you have an emergency, instead of slamming this like this, just, you're going to be running like this, shut that off. It's going to stop everything except for the carriage with the rollers and augers. Okay? Everything's in neutral. That's the safest area. So if somebody's working underneath there, have it in neutral. The horn works good. Every time you're going to move this, try to push the horn. Gives everybody an alert you're moving. Okay? So I'm going to start it now. It's going to get noisy, and we'll figure it out from there. I don't know what you're going to be able to hear, but we're going to show how the carriage moves and how we advance down the rails, and then how we can just drive it. Okay? Okay, we're going to start by just traveling down the pipe. So I'm going to go this direction. I'm going to hit the horn. We're going to put this in travel. We're going to turn this up somewhere there. Here's my gas pedal. We're just traveling. Doing a little dry around here. We're just going to drive down. We're going to move the carriage back when we get down there and come back this way. One thing to know, if that side is behind or ahead of this one, we can travel just one side. We're going to travel with just that. I'm going to put this side in neutral. We're going to advance only with that side. We can do it the other way also, okay? But since we're going to try to keep it square here, that's how you square your machine up. You can do that while you're paving. Just when it advances, have this one in neutral or whatever side. Okay, that's the travel. We're going to travel back now. I put those levers reverse. We're going to go backwards. Not too hard. Okay, we're going to stop. I'm going to stop us with our gas pedal, because if you just hit this, it jerks. Okay, we're going to pave now. We're going to pave going forward. So we got to start. We should probably have some, we don't need to. Okay, we're going to put this in pave, going this way. Okay, when I do that, the carriage is going to start moving also, okay? And we're not going to advance until it hits the controller. So the carriage is going to move, and when it hits down here to shift, it might shake a little, hang on. When it shifts, we're going to advance. We'll see how far, hopefully about 6 to 8 inches. Automatic, okay? By now, obviously, the carriage will be running. It's not now, just for our training purposes. So if we want to advance less, not as far, turn that down a little bit. Let's see what happens. A little less advance. If I turn this carriage up though, it goes faster. I'm going to want to go down a little bit with that probably, because I turned more fluid into that. Okay, that kept our advance pretty close to the same, but the carriage is moving way faster, okay? If I slow the carriage down, I'll probably want to go up with this. That'll make us advance somewhere in the middle. There you go. That would advance very little, but if you're waiting for mud, that's what you do. So if you're moving this machine, that carriage is going to go that way. I'm going to adjust it. You don't have to stop it. There you go. The carriage came back. Okay? Go this way. It's going to advance. It's going to go that way. Carriage is now going that direction. If we do this, we're not going to advance at all. Carriage will keep going, we're not advancing. Now we're back to forward. This a little more and this a little less. Okay, now, if you have a problem in the back behind the machine, you got to avoid, you don't pick anything up, you shift these two, we're going to pave backwards until we get back to where we need to fix, and then we'll just go over it again. Okay? You don't pick the carriage up, you don't do anything like that. You just run it backwards to where your problem is. You got to, whatever it is. Somebody drops something in it or whatever. There's a lot of things going to happen. It's real life. In the meantime, you can be running your fogger, which we don't have full, by pulling it on and running it with this. Right now, we're a pretty good advancement. We're going back. Okay, if I have an emergency, what do? I stop that. Boom. Not a big jerk, okay? Put everything in neutral, neutral. Nothing's moving here. They would have to shut the carriage off down there to stop the rollers and everything from turning. That's it. Turn and off switch back there. It's pretty simple. We're gonna go just pave. We're gonna just travel backwards. We're not gonna pave. Let's do that. We're gonna turn this up and run it with our gas pedal. We got to go a direction though, right? I forgot to do that, so we're going to go that direction. We're going to go backwards. All right, stop there. Put everything in neutral every time. I don't want any accidents. Horn works well. Get people's attention. I can't whistle really well. That's pretty much the ins and outs of this whole panel. It's pretty simple.
Thank you.
Awesome. Yep, that should be it.
Close up real quick.
Okay.
Thank you.
Auger adjustment, Rotovibe, vibrator adjustment. We want the augers. These are pushing mud away. We want them a eighth to a quarter inch higher, matters the mud, matters the situation, higher than the back rollers, okay? We want that just a little bit of mud coming back there, but not too much. That's how we do. The auger adjustments are the most important, the one thing that you'll do all pour. Very seldom you'll do a pull pour without having to adjust one. An adjustment on the auger, once we get it close and set, 3 of these holes is a pretty good amount. 2 to 3 holes, not 2 to 3 turns. Very seldom. Once in a while, if you're starting in the mud and it's a mess, and I've been there, you might have to turn it a turn or two because we're off that far. Okay, but that auger adjustment gets all the time. During a pour, the guy running the machine, the head guy down here is going to be saying, "Hey, we got too much mud. We got mud coming out of the back of the rollers. Adjust these down. Less mud, right? Don't have enough mud for the rollers. Adjust it up." Okay. Here's the deal. When you adjust that, you have 3 feet about before that adjustment takes effect. So you're going to advance probably 6 times at least before it changes. So if you adjust these augers, it's not instantly going to change how much mud is going back. Okay, you'll have to do a little work in the process, either push mud or pull mud, right? Yeah. But it probably, if you get good at this, you'll see it happen before you have to worry about that. That takes practice. Don't feel bad if you're not good at it right away. I've been on hundreds of bridge pours and I get it right a lot, but not every time. Okay, it's okay. That is easiest set off an end dam or something, because you have your roller set right on the end dam or within 1/8 of an inch. That's the easiest way to do it. Another way to do it is to run your auger or your level from the rollers out to the tip of the auger or out to the auger and go. That's how we're going to do it today, because we don't have an end dam. So I'm going to have somebody crawl under here, somebody else under there, and somebody adjusting the augers, you got a pin on that side to undo, pull that out, and that will just go back in, because during a pour, you put that back in also, because you gotta, it'll vibrate. So you gotta have a couple guys holding the augers and get it level at a 1/4 inch. Let's just do a 1/4 today. We're gonna go up a little less than a 1/4 inch. And how you can do that, you're gonna have to run a little crooked. You got something that's a 1/4 inch thick, you know, like a piece of plywood or something, or you can stick in here, and then when you get that, that's an easy way to do it. But there, honestly, it's more of a straight edge than the level you're using, basically, is what I'm saying. Okay. So, however you get, so you got to turn this end underneath the end of the auger over here, so it's going to be crooked. You're going to have to pull your bar over here. Yep. And you're going to get it within a 1/4 inch. You're going to have a 1/4 inch gap here between that when it's level, and we'll be close. Yes, it takes a little finagling. This is the hardest way to do this, by the way, but it can be done. We're trying to get it close. We'll have to adjust as we go. That's not a big deal. It's a parking lot. Yeah, you figure out your level. I don't know how that works. It's a nice level, though, man. It is. So, you might have. Okay.
Still like it?
You make that about a 1/4 inch gap there. You're hard to tell with the tape. Just kind of eyeball it. You can eyeball it close. If yep, off the auger in the front, it'll all go down the same. Yep. You're going to go up a little bit, as long as you're level.
Right there? Right there?
About a 1/4 inch, you know, somewhere in there, 3/16, somewhere in there. It's kind of hard to do this way. We'll find out how close we are. And just, like I said, if you're on an end dam and you already know, you run those down, touch the end dam, and you stick a 1/4, and then boom, it's easy. But this is a good way to, I mean, make sure you're.
Like it? A little bit. Right about there. Next side.
Yeah, both sides will adjust the same time.
Oh, okay.
Doesn't matter. Just both of them do the same side. It's all hooked together. So we know we squared the rollers, right? So we don't have to worry about that. And we know the augers run up and down together. So you're not adjusting one auger, you're adjusting both whenever you turn that. Okay, now the Rotovibe.
It's gonna be fun to lay on all that.
You're gonna have to get back under. You want the Rotovibe. I'll get this on the camera. Okay. This can be done when you're gonna start in the mud. These do not run by anything except for running in the mud, okay? There's no hydraulics, there's nothing, okay? They just spin. If that thing's spinning in the mud, like, you know, turning and not plowing, it's right. If it's not turning, you're not in the mud deep enough, and if it's plowing a bunch of mud, it's too deep. That's your math. That's the easiest way to do. Come off your roller, just like you did with your auger, and make it flush to the inside, not the outside fin, but the inside groove, okay? Right there. If you make that flush with your roller, you're good. And then what I do, so we don't rip them up, I will do this in a dry run. I will set this thing, okay? I will set it where I want it. And when we get it, we're happy what we think we have, I will run this thing both sides. This is individual, by the way. They adjust individually.
Okay.
Okay, I will run it all the way up and count how many half turns, write it down. So when we get in the mud and we're not going to catch anything, I go 12 half turns down. Then we know we're exactly where we were before, and you're not going to catch anything doing dry runs or wreck something. Okay, to how you adjust these, they have a pitch adjustment too, that this and this. You generally want the front up a hair higher than the back. In case you run into a drain or something, it's not going to catch this way, it might run over it. Just a hair, a little bit pitch like that is fine.
Where you adjust that at?
That is going to be here. You're gonna loosen this, and you're gonna adjust it with this back here, okay? And you're gonna loosen. I'm sorry. You're gonna loosen this, adjust with this. I'm sorry. This is the one you loosen. Adjust with that. The other one over there is backwards. You just have it's enough.
Okay.
Okay. But I think they should be set from the factory pretty good. They look good to me. This is all eyeball stuff. This is not precise. Okay, so we're gonna go up and down, so you're gonna need, how you do that, that's the main one we're gonna do now. and I grabbed the wrong wrench. This is the bolt we loosen, and we adjust with this, okay?
To bring it up and down.
Yep, that's how you're gonna go up and down. So what you're gonna do now, if I can find my wrenches, is gonna adjust each one individually too, by the way. So one side might roll and you know, so you might have to do one and not the other. Okay, here it is. So we're gonna loosen this, and we're gonna run this down, I'm assuming. Let's see, we're gonna go the other way, I think. Oh, the other way. So we're gonna go down. You can tell by looking in here, it's gonna come right out of that sleeve. Okay, so then you guys are gonna adjust these off your roller. That's as simple as that, okay? So you're gonna have to, you can just level this one and then go to that side. It won't take, and then we'll leave it here because we don't have anything to hit, obviously. But you get what I mean? If I were pouring on a bridge and we were doing a dry run, I would lower set this and then get it where we're happy and then crank it back up and count how many turns it took to get it out of the way. So when you guys start pouring to get it in the mud, just do that. Another important thing is this is the controller for it. Try not to run it when it's not in the mud. You just loosen this and you never go past that stop that we welded on there. That's as fast as you can go. Once in a great while, if you have wet mud, you'll have to turn it down a little bit. It doesn't have to be ran full blast, but that's where we recommend it, unless the mud, what will happen if you have to turn it down, the mud will go back to the roller and look fine, but all of a sudden disappear. That means that's vibrating too much and it's turning it into water, you know, getting really, really watery. And okay, so I've only had to do it twice in 5 years. So very seldom, but once in a while, just so you know, that's the adjustment. You can shut it off and on with that. That's how you run that, okay? And when we start, if this isn't, like I said, if it's not turning, we know we got to lower one or the other. That can easily be done. I mean, it takes, you stop it on one side, do it right there. We recommend you stop the carriage. You stop the carriage. You can put this in neutral, this lever. That will stop everything from turning. Or this one on and off, okay? This is an on and off. The on, it's this has 3 spots. This is off in the middle. This is gonna lift the carriage, this is down. You have to have that on to make it run, okay? That's the emergency. If you get somebody stuck or something happens, shut this in the middle or this, either one, okay? That's the main shut off, but this will also work if you put it in the middle. Problem with this, if you're nervous, you hit it this way, it's gonna keep running, it's just gonna lift, okay? Yeah. But you can do it. I mean, if you can't reach that side, just hit that in the middle, okay? Everybody understand that? That's very important to know. This is, the middle is neutral, that'll be off. This is a lift, that'll pull that bottom carriage up, that will put it down and keep it running. This, which I would not recommend leaning over like this, but that's on and off, okay? Be careful when you start it, it will start on and off, it doesn't matter, so just watch where your feet are. You got it where you think you're happy? Okay, so that's our setup for the augers and that. Like I said, it's easier on an end dam if you know exactly the height you're going to. You don't need the level then. You know what I mean? You just pull that up there and lower it and leave a gap. The state guys, inspectors, are gonna make you put a straight edge underneath your rollers with a bungee cord holding them up, just like we had just one probably, how to check their depth, grade. They're gonna be down there, otherwise they're gonna be down there trying to measure off the roller. That works fine, but instead of us doing that today, and instead of you guys doing it in your dry run especially, what I did is took this chamfer strip, and our magic number was 56 3/4 yesterday, right? That's how the distance from the rail to the roller, right? Okay. I measured that already, put a mark. It's the top of that big wide mark, okay? So, when we come in here, come on in on this underneath, guys, in the camera. When we come under here, you can either tape a ruler to the top of this, or I can cut, they got plenty. So, here's what I'm gonna do. Here's what I like to do. I hook that and that. We've got 10 inches of mud. Pretty simple, right? How I got that, I measured from the top of the rail, top of the mark. I probably had it kind of straight, it was probably on a rock. But we got a little around 10 inches. We're not on flat surface, I could move it an inch and get different.
And change that, we just lower the legs?
We lower the legs is how we change that. We're gonna be trusting that this thing we're not going to trust this ground. It's obviously gravel.
Yeah.
But on a bridge, you're going to trust your beams or your shot point, your whatever you're going off. You got your pans. Pans are hard to do, but they'll get you close. How much easier is that than bending over? I can do this anywhere. That's how much mud there. We got 11. See, there's a hole here. See that? So we got 10.5 inches of mud there, right? There's a hole here. That tells us everything. That's what we need to know. I usually just use the front, but you can, we go on top of the rail. We do the back and the front when we get done, but I try to measure from the same thing. Who knew I could do that? So the back here, out of this gravel, we got 9 inches of mud. Pretty simple. We're going to the top of that mark because that's where I marked it, okay? We're gonna guess here. We're gonna get around 5, you thought, right?
Yeah, about 5 inches.
So we're gonna go try to get 5 inches of mud today. We're gonna randomly check here. We know the machine is square. We know the ground is not. So we're just gonna go off. Now, we're gonna start with 5, and on a bridge, let's say you are doing a dry run. You got 9 inches of coverage usually, somewhere in there. 9 inches, okay? Your machine is doing the right side, 9 inches all the way. All of a sudden you get to a spot, there's 8.5 inches. And then there's 8.5, but then the rest is 9. You change the legs?
No.
No, because you just screwed up everything else, right? You change the pipe. You change where your pipe's at. Your pipe must have a dip or a rise in it.
Okay.
Okay, either one. You change your setting on the pipe. You don't, so when you do a dry run and you're doing do one side, do the other side the whole way, do them both, same time, however you want to do it. Do the whole thing. Mark it down, and if you have just one spot that's off, you change the pipe. You can't, okay? The state guys, yeah, they'll change your setting on your put your screws up or down, okay? If you have the whole side over here is a 1/2 inch low, change your legs. You don't have to change all the pipe, okay? Most of the time you're gonna find these spots, and people say, I've heard every excuse. We've shot that in. No, they didn't. They just lied to you. The guys went off the chamfer strip. They went from the measurement from the chamfer strip, right? Perfect. How many chamfer strips are straight? No. Not many, okay? So it's probably the pipe. The machine we know right now is square. So don't start messing with stuff. When the state man or inspector says, your machine's screwed up, you squared it, you haven't touched anything right now. How can that be? So do the whole dry run before you start adjusting things. Know where you're at. Does that make sense to you guys? Don't just start changing stuff out there. You'll be chasing your tail all day. If you do end up screwed up, go back to what you had to begin with. Have that number written down. Your legs were at what such and such. Each one. Make sure the machine's back to square, and then do it again. Okay. Then start and do the whole sides. Okay. Does that make sense? Good. I'm not great at explaining that, and I am not an engineer. How you build the bridges, that's your guys' job. That's great. But I can tell you the machine does not change if you don't change it. Okay. It just doesn't. Some guys will tell you it does, and how? Then I'll have to have them explain to me how, and they can't. Well, it has to do this. No, it doesn't. We've already done all this. So it's hard to go off of depth here, but we're just going to guess, find a median, and go about 5 inches. We're just going to guess here. But this is how it works. So you can see how it works. You can also, if you have one of the carpenter wooden rulers that fold out, you can tape that at 0 and then run it up here, and you don't have to have a tape measure. You can just do this, okay? But this is simple for your dry runs, man, and it works. It works. It just has to, because that's not changing, okay? And you're not going to change that part. All right, so that's a very important part of the setup that I know how to work it. Good enough. We're going to start running this sucker now. So let's.
I got a question though.
Yes.
Say we got our stopping point, like the end of the bridge or whatever it may be. When our rollers make it there, obviously we don't be rolling on that. You usually are about 1/8 to 1/4. You test that before you do it, and make sure you're. And I guess my question is, what about the pans? Would we just run that farther so it would drag it?
You want to have run off your machine off the bridge so you can finish with your pans all the way to the end. If in a perfect world, you can lift that up if you have to, if you don't feel safe with it being down when it gets to that end dam. Lift that carriage up. That won't change your drag pan unless you're on a skew. But if you're on a straight bridge, and then just keep finishing with those pans until you off the bridge and you just take the pans, you know what I mean? Does that make sense? I didn't really do great at explaining that. But if you get to the end dam with your rollers and say you're done finishing with the rollers, hit that carriage lift, you're out of the way, but keep finishing. You can, with the pans until you've finished all the way to the end.
I went all the way to the form.
Sure, and then all you got your hand finishers only have just the edge to do. I mean, very edge because it's going to knock a little over. But yes, great question.
You said carriage lift. Where's that at?
That is what over in the front here.
Right here, Bubba.
So that is the one that has the three position valve.
Okay.
If that thing is running, you got to have it running. By the way, it has to be turning. Boom. That's going to raise 5 inches.
Okay.
Okay.
And then
It's not going to drop my pans. Or it's
Nope,
Not, gonna move my
not
pans.
because your pans are hooked to the upper part.
Okay.
But if you're on a skew, it is going to raise it, right?
Right.
Because you're on the bottom. No, actually, I don't think it will. No, it won't, because you're on the top of the frame.
Kind of tips it back. Huh?
Yep, I'll start it here and show you if you guys want to get a video of this too, how this, we're done with this part. Well, not done with it. We're going to move the legs and then we'll be done with it. So we're going to start this. If we have this in neutral, we know it's off. This has a sticker on it, run stop. Let's go to stop. I think it's that way. We'll find out. Keep my feet away. Okay. That's going to lift your carriage. See that? That's going to put it down. Okay. If I shift that neutral, everything stops. Okay. Stops everything. On, off. On, off. Here's your vibrator. Okay. If you do that, then you can shut it off and just keep finishing with your pans. Okay. It has to be running to work. There you go. Here's your shift rod. Okay. Let me show you this. Come to the back. We're going to leave it run. It's going to be loud. Come on to the back. Let's go over here. We're going to shoot here. Okay. Tell me when you're ready. Okay. Automatic reversing valve. If I do that, those rollers will not reverse different directions. It's that simple. If you're in a skew, pouring on a skew, you will have, there's your sticker right there. You will have it off because you're going to stay the same. The rollers will never reverse. What you're going to do today and what you're going to do on your first bridge is going to be reversing. See the handle? These individually change your rollers. Remember, if you're skewed like this, you want them turning so you're kicking mud in front. But I can change it on the go. You can run one in, one out. You can do whatever you want. But we don't want to do that today. I wouldn't mess with that so much.
Because on a skew, you'd want to run one in and one out.
Nope, in a skew you run them the same direction and you don't reverse them.
Okay.
So when it goes back to hit, so when this hits that paddle over there, it reverses the rollers also. On a skew you will not do that. You finish to the back, you finish to the back, and you're going to go, well, how can you advance both times? You can. Huge fight with a guy from Michigan about that. Ended up talking to the head of Michigan's whole bridge deal. I won because we finished and it works great. So today we're going to have it reversing, and we've got it right. We want them going because it's skewed like this. The carriage is actually like this, so you want it turning. When it gets over there, it's going to turn this way. This is going to be counterclockwise. Yep. Okay. There are things in here. You can clean these cartridges if you have a problem. If they stick, brake cleaner or something, pull them out. Clean them up. Okay. There's cartridges in here. Probably these ones will stick if anything happens. If it sits too long, the less this gets used, the more problems you'll have. Okay. You
pull them out and clean them?
You pull them out and clean. Here's what I do when I'm running a dry run. I'll come back here and just do this. Let it change it. Use them. You know. And this one you won't have problem. That's just a valve. So. Okay. Any questions? I'll shut it off here. Okay.
These cartridges things again?
Okay, there's cartridges in here and here. Sometimes they get goop in them.
Where at?
Okay.
These big, the big, great big, right there and there.
Okay.
Those are your settings. Try not to mess with those. They're set really well. This is when your carriage skews one direction. I don't remember which is which. There's a set screw here. You can loosen this, put it down, we'll go slower, one direction. This would be the other direction. When it comes in and shifts, when the carriage changes, and if it's getting crazy, you want to slow it down. And sometimes if you're in a weird situation, but a situation that happened, if you're non-reversing and you're still skewing, which is very seldom, it might have to be adjust those. It's very simple. You just try it and see how fast in other words, if the carriage is really swinging around too fast, go down with them, less fluid's going to go through. And that is for each direction, or each direction has its own adjustment. Okay. Anything else? Kind of forgot that yesterday. Okay, so stuff there you can read in the book. There's stuff in there. I know I went through it pretty fast, but honestly today you'll see those rollers. So obviously the way they're set, they're right. When you're skewed, your carriage is going across like this. The rollers are going to be going clockwise if you're looking from the front, clockwise, because you're kicking that mud out, right? And when it skews the other direction, you're going to change them back the other way on a square deck like we're going to do today. Okay, you'll see them change. It changes when it hits the paddles. That's what. Okay, reversing. That's what those paddles are. If you're on a skew, the paddles don't even go in. You're always paving one direction. You don't reverse the rollers. There's a lot less action going on, but it's a pain to set up if you don't know what you're doing. Okay. We don't have the lights on here. You got some lights package. You can figure that out. You hang them where you want them, and you got that. Not a big deal. That's a light switch. You hit a switch. All right. So I think we'll go up and train some drivers here. Okay,
Just tell them what you need.
what we're going to do, and I want you to do every time, is spray this down with some kind of furniture polish is what we like, or any kind of form oil they'll let you use, which is harder to find. But furniture polish, dollar store stuff, spray everything you don't want concrete to stick to. That means everything here, maybe head down or more, everything. So when they use that power washer over there, it's going to come right off. That's the point of this whole deal. That's what they're going to start doing now. No magic to it. Anything you see, spray it. Doesn't hurt a thing, just helps you at the end. When we get done and use that power washer, I will say we'll have them pull that guard off on the front, and we'll pull the guards off. I'll go point at it here. These come right off, that right there on each side, and you'll be able to get the rollers while they're running and spray them down really well and get in there. That's the only things we really have to take apart. The drag pans will come off, obviously, but everything else can just stay on it. We run it usually when we power wash it, hence the safety thing with all this, to watch your legs.
So you spray it first.
Yep, before we even start.
What he's doing here.
Yep.
And then
I usually use furniture polish, let it dry. This is before the pour. When the pour is done, usually they'll pick the machine, or they'll drive it way off the end if we got enough pipe, and they'll power wash it. Power wash everything. That it gets dirty. If you have a long pour and it gets crazy, you get these pumps coming, you get mud everywhere. I mean, it's crazy. So clean it up nice. It'll last a long time if you clean stuff.
so this kind of like a primer.
Yeah, it's just something to make it slippery. Furniture polish works great. Like I said, we go buy 3-4 cans at a dollar store, just like you would at home.
Everything.
Yep. Anything about here down. You don't have to do probably way up there, but here down is not anywhere you reach.
What about the chains?
That's fine. They don't need to be greased or anything. They're plated, so they're okay. Some people do run a little grease on parts of it, but then it just makes a mess. So they'll last you forever. You don't have a little fine tip on that thing?
No.
That's what you need. You need just a fine tip, spray it down. Just fog it down. I'd have them go to the dollar store and get you some spray cans. Okay. I mean, we'll catch up. If you did a shoot, it'd be nice to have the truck be able to pull in. It's too bad we're not pouring that way, which is a little downhill, which is okay. So you could pull in and just stay in front, but you'll have to just. For now, that's plenty, because we got to get this shit flattened out. It's not bad now. That's okay. Go a little bit. Yeah, I'll see you.
Well,
That's okay.
down a little bit.
Oh, you're good. It's all right. Let's leave it a sec. Let's see where we go. That's advance. Shorter advance. It's gonna be, yes. Let's just see where we end up. About back here is right, but we're gonna have to be pushing all this way. You'll have to start pulling now, okay? Yeah, you're gonna have to pull. See how that's way over it? So go ahead and start pulling, guys. You got work cut out. There you go. For now, that's plenty because we gotta get this shit flattened out. It's not bad now. That's okay. Go a little bit. Yeah, I'll see you.
Well,
That's okay.
down a little bit.
Oh, you're good. It's all right. Let's leave it a sec. See where we go. So like I said, now we're not going to see how far that is before the rollers catch the augers.
Yeah.
It's going to take a while.
Yeah, moving it.
Shoot some water down here. He's working on it. Put less than that on there with that chute, so.
Well, that's what I told him. Because all we needed was about a minute.
Looking pretty good. Okay. Now you'll understand when you're dumping, you want that roll, we're way too high. It's going to have to somewhere to push out. It's just a timing thing. It's just, it's impossible to do what you're doing. I'm sure not.
Yeah, it's better with a rail pump.
Even if you were back in here, you could do it easier.
Yeah.
I'm not dogging. I'm just telling you what's going on.
Yeah.
Okay, where are the drag pans? Let's go grab one.
Talk about being here.
It's
Everything.
It's not going to be like this. It's not going to be like this. Trust me. It won't be like this. We'll get her going here. So when you're watching this come back across, see that line on the with the pump? You know, you got to have somewhere for that stuff to roll, but you want it halfway up the auger. It can be higher, obviously. Now you know that, right?
Yes.
But you want, and they want to have, if it's too high, you can just dig out behind it. It'll roll it right into there.
You want it just halfway up that auger. Right?
Yep, and if it's not perfect, that's okay. On the edges, you're going to go less because normally you're going to have a form.
Yeah. Okay.
But this is way too much.
That from.
Right, we're just doing this, keeping away from the pipe. Yep.
That would be smart.
Yep, when you get over there, stop it. Okay, he stopped. Okay. You can't see it on this side, right? Because every which way it goes.
Right.
Okay. We'll get there. It's going to get, now it's going to have some. It's good that way, but we're running out of money. It's going to dig in there. We don't want that. I don't know if we'll probably change the, anyway, it's fine here where it's supposed to be. We'll see if it probably will be okay up there. I'm going to drop my fucking phones in the mud. Dumbass.
How many yards per hour?
If you get going, I don't even know. This thing will run 60. Okay, now we're plowing. See that? We got too much mud. We got too much mud, too high. Okay, I got to go back down with the roller. I went too high with the auger. Okay, I'm just showing. We're going to back up and refinish it. But I'm too high with the auger. I went too far. Okay, but we're going to let him push that extra mud out, and then we're going to come back up finish. But if you watch, okay, so that's a little too high. You watch coming off that roll's too big. That's why it's not finishing well, all right? That's good to see. Okay, that's too much. We have plenty of places for it to go, so we're not really, but on a bridge you don't. Okay? Okay. And then go this way. So we're too high, I gotta go back down. So I'm too high with the auger now. We got pushing too much mud, so I gotta go back down with the auger, okay? Stop it over here. Now just back up. We're going to let you get more mud in here all the way back, so we didn't do this, right? But we want to get the mud out there, so we'll finish. So I'm too high with this. Now, I went too far because we knew we were pushing way too much mud, okay? Simple as it. So I know I went an extra turn than what I thought I needed. Here's raised, there's the arrow. The other side also has one. So we're gonna lower it. We're gonna go one full turn. You can tell them to go. Okay, have him go. Look, that's fine. Actually, I don't know if we're going to be past it by the time we get it.
Yeah, well, if you hold this right here, I'll just...
Okay. Hustle up. That way. Just go ahead and just pave that way then. But yeah, it was too high. It went too far back, too high. And I lowered it once already, but it didn't lower it enough. Yeah, oh yeah, something like, it was right where it's at now is a little too low because we're already finished, but it's not bad. That's kind of what I'm looking for, okay? If you start leaving a line out the back, the drag pans will get it if it's just a little one, it doesn't even matter. But that's when you back the back legs up a half a turn, then that goes away. Because that raises those rollers up, okay? I want you guys to see all, I kind of want to experience all of this, so. But I went too far with the first adjustment, now I'm working my way back. It's usually not this far. If you're close to start with, I've done 4 bridges where I haven't had to adjust it at all. Very lucky, doesn't usually happen. Okay, now we can go this way. See how it's disappearing out before the back of the roller? It might be a little much, but that's not bad, okay? If I were anything, I might go down 2 holes on that, just 2 holes. But we're gonna see what happens, okay? And this much mud in front of the rollers isn't that big a deal because we're gonna run out anyway, right? Usually halfway up is what we want, but that's just a vicinity thing. I mean, this is going to push this right on the hill we're short anyway. So people panic and start pulling mud, and this thing is going to move it anyway. That's the biggest problem. Then they start slapping in here. Unless you're told to, don't do it. Because if it does get too much, obviously not a good thing. That little roll right here, right there, that's what we're kind of talking about, making it, you know, a little golf ball or a little small, somewhere in there. But yeah, it's pretty good there. It's a little high, but not bad. It's not coming out the back. We're not even hardly leaving a line. if that goes 3/4 back on the roller and there's no mud, that's fine, and you're still leaving a line, we take the back 2 legs on the machine and bump them a 1/2 turn. That's 1/8 of an inch. That'll get rid of that. And with these power legs, nobody knows you did it. So the state guy doesn't know if they don't need them. It doesn't change grade because your front didn't change. More than nobody will ever know. But that's how you get rid of the line. You don't mess with the rollers; they're always square. Okay. Dry. We're pretty dry out here. We've been over it a bunch. No big deal. I'm not going to panic about that.
Well, we got a lot of good stuff to go off of.
Yeah. You watched it. You got the good, the bad.
Yeah.
That's what we wanted. We didn't come out here and make the Taj Mahal. We came out to teach you what looks right, what doesn't.
Just a little dry.
Just dry, yeah. If you had some water over there, you could.
They do.
If it was wet, I just got to spray a couple spots. This is not the Taj Mahal, as you can tell, but thank you. Stop him over there, that's fine. We'll get the drag. Go, spray her off. Rinse it off good, get both sides good and clean. They'll last a long time. They're not cheap. Okay, now you can shut off for now. Pull this off. All you got to do is pull up on the back. There you go. That goes over to him. Okay, that can be shut off up there. Okay, we're going to pull this up. We got a couple other things to take off. Those sides right here, there's a pin in the front and the back right here, and that panel slides out towards you. There's one in the back. There's a pin here if you want to take it out. Take those 2 panels. One there, one in the back. Slide it out. Good idea. Put the pins back in the hole because otherwise they fly away somehow. Over there. Okay. When you go to wash this, we're going to have it running slow. Okay? You're going to be careful. Don't get any augers, but we're going to have it running. And you're going to run it. It's easy. Make sure you get here, in here. In this area, we'll get really muddy. These, here, in here. Now, when we run it, you'll also see if you look way in the middle brace in there, it's awful muddy. Right in here, okay? That can all be cleaned because we took that shield out, okay? And in back between here. Okay, make sure all that gets good and clean every time. I'll turn it on, what it's going to look like, excuse me, what it's going to look like. And you'll shoot that with the water, wash it off. All the whole thing, but this is really important, okay? You have it down like that, you can really reach in there, okay?
Yeah, we're going to turn it. We'll stall it.
Yep, get everything good. Be careful when this, okay, remember this is running. I would pull, after you wash it, I would pull the augers off, but not till and then make sure they're greased when you put them back on. We talked about that, okay? Because if you don't, you weren't here in a day or a week, you're done. You won't get them off, and there you got to cut the shafts with the torch.
Yeah, I'm going to re-grease
If there's grease on there, you're fine.
Ready?
Okay, the other way. Hit the switch back. There you go.
Oh, yeah,
Back is down. Yep.
Ready?
Okay. Yep. Be sure they're particular with this. We won't want to half-ass. Sooner or later, there's bearing, all those Rotovibe there. There's bearings in there. They'll eventually need to be replaced. But if you do this, it lasts a long time. I'm going to shut the Rotovibe off, actually.
It's all about cleanup.
Yes. So I'm going to shut this off.
Up and he wants to talk to you about how you fucked up.
Yeah, yep, fair enough. And boy, I've been there. I've done it. It's always good to have two guys because you don't, watching safety reasons.
Yeah.
Don't get that caught in there. Let's have two people paying attention.
grease zerks and stuff around.
Their legs, they're in the book. I will tell them to grease it. I mean, legs, a couple pumps that's it. A couple pumps, they know how to do. I'm sure they're machines. They got machines. It's all the same as any other machine. 1 or 2 pumps, good. Don't overdo it. You just kind of got to learn where they're at, and then look in the book and say, hey, I didn't see that one. So that's right. That's a good thing to point out. I'll explain. Okay, these guys did a great job. Successful pour. We started out with the augers way too high, or too low, and then we went way too high, but we showed them what happened with it. They did a great job. We adjusted. The pour went well. Not a lot of stress. I think they'll get the hang of it. We went through about everything we possibly could to get it screwed up and then make it better. The pad looks fine, so obviously we did it right. They're in a cleanup process now. Be meticulous, be picky, just like your wife is telling you to clean the bathroom, something like that. That's about it. I appreciate your guys' effort in putting this together. It's awesome. That's about all I got. Thank you.